You wake up wrong. It is 30,000 years ago. Your skin is burning, but your body is shaking. There is no doctor, no pharmacy, no thermometer, no word for infection, just firelight, darkness, and people watching to see if you survive the night. The fever has been building since yesterday. Your throat is closed. Your vision swims when you try to sit up. You cannot hunt. You cannot carry water. You cannot keep up if the group has to move. And here's the thing no one tells you about being sick 30,000 years ago. The first reliable treatment may not have been a plant. It may have been another person refusing to leave. For deep prehistory, we have no written diagnostic names, no germ theory, no lab tests. A fever arrived the way weather arrived, sudden, powerful, without explanation. Infections that would clear in days with modern antibiotics could last weeks, could spread, could kill. Children were most vulnerable, but adults died too. Wound infections, contaminated water, respiratory illness. The human body had been surviving these pressures for hundreds of thousands of years, and the survival rate was not what it is today. But your ancestors made it through. Enough of them, enough times. The question is how. The easy assumption is that the sick simply died, and many did. The bones confirm it. Short lives, high infant mortality, evidence of untreated injury and chronic pain in remains from sites across the world. But there is a harder question underneath that assumption. Because if the group had to move, if the season changed, or the food ran thin, or the land demanded migration, a sick person who could not walk was not just suffering. They were a problem with no clean answer. Compassion and calculation lived in the same body. In some situations, groups likely waited. In others, the evidence suggests they did not. The honest answer is that we do not know every outcome. What we know is what the bones of the survivors tell us. And some of those bones tell a remarkable story. But the strangest part is this. Some of the sickest ancient people did survive, and their bones still show it. In a cave in what is now northern Iraq, researchers found the remains of a Neanderthal individual known as Shanidar I. He had a withered arm, a healed leg fracture, damage suggesting partial blindness. He was old by the standards of his world, perhaps 40 years. He could not have survived alone. His survival strongly suggests that others provided support over a period of years: food, protection, help moving. The exact care is inferred from the bones, not documented, but the inference is hard to escape. Shanidar I is one of the clearest cases. Other prehistoric remains show healed injuries severe enough that survival required sustained group support. Each one needs careful interpretation, but the pattern holds. Every group also carried a library. It was not written down, it lived in memory. Later ancient traditions, including evidence interpreted from dental calculus at Neanderthal sites, suggest familiarity with plants that have analgesic and anti-inflammatory properties. Whether this was intentional medicine or incidental is debated, but the exposure was real, and the knowledge of which plants helped and which harmed was passed forward, from elder to child, from failure to memory, across generations. When the fever did not break, when nothing physical seemed to help, something else was called in. In many documented traditional societies, healing has always combined practical remedies with ritual: smoke, sound, touch, repetition, and focused group attention. A person with specialized knowledge moved closer to the sick. Fire and heat moved with them. What this offered was not only medicine, it was the visible attention of the group, a signal delivered to both the sick person and everyone watching. This person still matters to us. Modern research suggests this has real physiological weight. Perceived social support measurably affects how the body responds to illness. Feeling cared for is not just an emotion. By later prehistory, in some regions, the intervention became more extreme. Trepanation, deliberate holes made in living skull bone, appears at sites across multiple continents. Some skulls show healed bone at the wound edges. Those patients survived the procedure. We do not fully know why it was performed. And this is where sickness stops being a medical story and becomes a human story. We live in an era of extraordinary medicine. Antibiotics, vaccines, diagnostic tools that would have been incomprehensible to anyone born before 2 centuries ago. And still, when someone close to us gets sick, the first instinct is not to consult the data. It is to sit close, to bring water, to stay. That response is older than medicine. It may be older than language. It surfaces before you decide to act, in the part of you that has not caught up to the modern world yet. The part that still lives in a group of 40 people, where losing anyone had a cost, and where staying with the sick was how the group survived. Before medicine, survival was not always about finding a cure. Sometimes it was about whether your group decided you were worth keeping alive. The oldest treatment was not a substance. It was someone deciding to stay.